When Calls the Heart Season 12 ends with a shocking cliffhanger, what's next in Season 13? Hurties, brace yourselves. When Calls the Heart Season 12 ended with a jaw-dropping cliffhanger that left fans with more questions than answers. The good news: Hallmark isn't leaving us hanging for long. The beloved series has officially been renewed for Season 13, set to premiere in 2026. That means it's time to start speculating about what's coming next, including the potential return of Charlotte Thornton. If you've been following the series closely, you know that Charlotte is none other than little Jack's grandmother. But will the legendary actress who portrayed her return to When Calls the Heart after a decade-long absence? Let's dive into the details. Elizabeth receives a life-changing letter from Jack's mother. In the When Calls the Heart Season 12 finale, Must Be Gold, Elizabeth receives a letter that changes everything. It's from Charlotte Thornton, Jack's mother and little Jack's grandmother. The letter reveals that Charlotte is now living in Cape Fullerton, where she owns a boarding house. But that's not the shocking part. Charlotte didn't just reach out for a casual chat. She wanted Elizabeth to know about a state-of-the-art insulin lab in Cape Fullerton. For any parent, the mere mention of better medical care for their child is enough to make them stop and listen. But for Elizabeth, this letter was a gut punch. Little Jack has had serious issues with his insulin. A past shipment wasn't stored at the proper temperature, leaving him weak and vulnerable. Now, Charlotte's message seems to imply that Elizabeth is taking a risk by not relocating closer to this new facility. Elizabeth's first reaction: pure frustration. She feels like Charlotte is accusing her of not doing enough for little Jack. But after a heartfelt conversation with Faith, her perspective shifts. Faith gently reminds Elizabeth, maybe for now, it's best for you to be closer to a lab if you can. She's right. Moving to Cape Fullerton, even if just for a while, could mean better care for little Jack and the peace of mind Elizabeth desperately needs. A new journey begins. Elizabeth, Nathan, and Ali head to Cape Fullerton. With that realization, Elizabeth makes a huge decision. She's taking little Jack to Cape Fullerton, and she won't be going alone. Nathan and Ali join them on this emotional journey, setting the stage for a brand new chapter in their lives. But what does this mean for Hope Valley? And more importantly, what does it mean for Elizabeth and Nathan's relationship? Fans have been rooting for them, and this move could bring them even closer together. At the same time, it could introduce new challenges that test their bond. And then there's the biggest question of all. Will they cross paths with Charlotte Thornton when they arrive? Will Brooke Shields return as Charlotte Thornton? With Elizabeth, Nathan, Ali, and little Jack heading straight to Cape Fullerton, it seems almost inevitable that Charlotte will be part of the storyline. But will Brooke Shields, who originally portrayed Charlotte, return to When Calls the Heart? It's been 10 seasons since Hurties last saw her on screen, but the possibility of her return is intriguing. However, Shields' involvement with Hallmark has been complicated. In an interview with Us Weekly, she shared that she initially joined the network during the Bill Abbott era, starring in over a dozen flower shop mysteries with Brennan Elliott. But she felt the old Hallmark lacked humor and eventually renegotiated her contract. Interestingly, she didn't mention When Calls the Heart in that interview. That leaves the door open, at least a little, for a potential comeback. If Brooke Shields doesn't return, Hallmark has a few options. They could recast the role, though that might not sit well with fans who love the original portrayal. Another possibility: a time jump at the start of Season 13, with all the major developments explained through dialogue. But let's be honest, having Charlotte back on screen would add some much-needed drama and emotional depth. Hurties, what do you think? Season 12 gave us Melissa Gilbert in a fantastic guest-starring role, proving that Hallmark isn't afraid to bring in beloved actors to shake things up. Could Brooke Shields be next? Her return would undoubtedly add a layer of intrigue to Elizabeth's journey, especially as she navigates this new phase of motherhood and love. So, Herties, what do you think? Would you love to see Brooke Shields reprise her role as Charlotte Thornton? And how do you feel about Elizabeth and Nathan's big move? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's get the conversation started.